If you look closely at the global economy, it looks like a sprawling, indestructible web. Trillions of dollars moving across borders, competing tech giants, automated logistics networks, and automated factories operating on every continent. We are told that modern capitalism is completely resilient because it is decentralized. But almost nobody notices how fragile the foundation really is. If you zoom out and trace the lines of global trade, you realize the entire multi-trillion-dollar pyramid isn't a web at all. It is a giant funnel, and at the very bottom of that funnel sits a single geographic coordinate, one specific company. If this single corporate entity stops operating tomorrow, the global economy doesn't just slow down, it freezes. Most people believe that the tech industry is a brutal battlefield of rivals. We watch Apple fight Samsung, Nvidia compete with AMD, and Google race against Microsoft. We assume they all build their own advanced empires. But that is the explanation everyone accepts because the marketing is so flawless. The truth is far stranger. Behind the flashing logos and the fierce boardroom battles, almost every single one of these tech titans shares the exact same manufacturing flaw. They are all completely dependent on a single company in Taiwan called TSMC. It is a corporate monopoly so absolute that it makes Standard Oil look like a small-town grocery store. To understand how we stumbled into this trap, you have to look at a brilliant, albeit incredibly risky, shift in corporate strategy that happened 30 years ago. Back in the 1980s, if you wanted to sell a microchip, you had to design it and you had to build it. Building them was dirty, astronomically expensive, and prone to massive failure rates. Then, Western tech companies had an epiphany. Why spend billions maintaining heavy machinery when you can just do the clean, high-margin work of designing the software and outsource the actual physical baking of the silicon to someone else? Silicon Valley decided to become fabless. They kept the intellectual property and handed the actual physical headaches to Taiwan. For decades, it looked like the ultimate capitalist win-win. Tech companies watched their profit margins skyrocket, and consumers got faster smartphones every 12 months. But that creates an incredibly uncomfortable question. If this single point of failure is so blindingly obvious, and if the entire world knows that Taiwan sits directly on a major geopolitical fault line, why hasn't anyone else duplicated it? Silicon Valley has trillions of dollars in cash reserves. The US government can print money at will. The European Union has unlimited regulatory power. If capitalism hates risk, why hasn't a rival billionaire simply built a carbon copy of this factory somewhere safer? Why can't money buy a way out of this trap? Here, where things move from a supply chain issue to something resembling a sci-fi thriller. Building a modern microchip factory isn't just an engineering challenge. It is a direct battle against the laws of physics. We are no longer talking about standard electronics. The transistors on a modern chip are packed so tightly together that they are separated by the width of a single strand of human DNA. To print something that small, you cannot use regular light. You have to use extreme ultraviolet light, or EUV. And it turns out there is only one company on planet Earth, a quiet Dutch firm called ASML, that can build the machines capable of manipulating this light. These machines cost over $200 million each. They require 40 shipping containers, 3 cargo planes, and a team of specialized engineers just to move one. To generate the light required to print a chip, these machines shoot a microscopic droplet of molten tin with a high-power laser twice, vaporizing it into a plasma that burns many times hotter than the surface of the sun. And they have to do this 50,000 times a second, every single day, without stopping. But the mystery goes even deeper, because even if you have the billions of dollars to buy these Dutch machines, you still cannot build the factory. The physical machine is just a tool. The real secret weapon of this $400 billion factory isn't the hardware, it's the collective, unwritten intuition of the human beings running it. In the chip manufacturing world, the ultimate metric is yield. If you bake a silicon wafer with 1,000 chips on it, how many of them actually work, and how many are useless garbage? When a rival tries to build a new factory, their initial yield might be 10 or 20%. They are burning billions of dollars turning silicon into paperweights. TSMC's yield for advanced chips is rumored to be closer to 80 or 90%. That gap cannot be bridged by a software update or a bigger budget. It is the result of 30 years of institutional memory, thousands of engineers working in perfect synchronization, and an entire ecosystem that exists nowhere else on Earth. You cannot clone a culture by writing a check. Which leads us to the most cynical and brilliant part of the entire system. This extreme centralization wasn't an accidental byproduct of global trade. It was a calculated strategy. In Taiwan, this manufacturing infrastructure is openly referred to as the Silicon Shield. The leadership realized decades ago that a small island cannot defend itself against superpowers using traditional military might alone. So they built something much more effective. They made themselves completely indispensable to both sides of the global superpower rivalry. If that single factory floor is damaged, the consequence isn't just that the new iPhone is delayed. The entire global financial plumbing, the literal pipes that move money across borders, clear stock trades and process consumer credit, instantly locks up because the server infrastructure backing it cannot be replaced. Autonomous defense systems go dark. Energy grids lose their regulatory components. By creating a single point of failure, they guaranteed that the rest of the world has no choice but to ensure their survival. This forces us to re-evaluate what we think we know about modern national sovereignty. We look at maps and see borders, governments, and independent nations. But in the digital age, a country's actual operational capacity is entirely dictated by its access to computing power. Every advanced economy on Earth has effectively outsourced its brain to a single geographic pinpoint. We have built the most complex automated civilization in human history on top of a foundation so structurally brittle that a single major tremor or a minor political miscalculation could throw global GDP back by decades. We are currently spending trillions of dollars building massive artificial intelligence models, cloud computing empires, and automated defense networks. We talk about the future as if it is an inevitability. But we rarely look down at the fragile silicon floor holding all of it up. Which leaves us with one final, deeply haunting thought. In our obsessed pursuit of corporate efficiency and high profit margins, we didn't just build a miracle of modern engineering. We built a world where the entire future of human progress is running inside a single room, and we have absolutely no backup plan if the power goes out. True sovereignty is no longer defined by the armies you command or the gold in your vaults. In a fully digitized world, power belongs to whoever controls the absolute choke point of human calculation, and right now, the entire global matrix is running on a single lease.